Hi, my name is John Miller. My dad, Robert, loved poetry. So, as a tribute to his life, I wrote this poem called The Unbroken Promise. The farmhouse stood warm in fall's early morn, when a newborn's first cries filled the air. Named Robert was he, and I think you'll agree, he came with his unique brand of flair. Bob grew up farm strong, and it didn't take long to see his character grow. His heart was deep, and promises he'd keep, and truth was the seed he'd sow. Football he played, but his thoughts they strayed to the dreams he considered before. A woman he'd find, and to her he'd bind his love forevermore. To college he rode, and the story is told of the girl he danced with there. Marge was she named, and his love it flamed. Of her beauty he was fully aware. He asked for her hand and gave her a band to make her one day his wife. He promised right there as he stroked her fine hair, "I'll love you for all of my life." They married soon after, and full of their laughter, they struck out on their own. To Yerevan they went, and it seemed heaven sent that into chemists they both had grown. To grants were they led, and I've heard it said that 3 lovely kids they soon had. Their family they raised, and still always praised the God in whom they were glad. A Land Rover was bought, and Bob always sought the new road traveled by few. With Marge by his side, the time had arrived to make his legacy true. They both did set out, and had them no doubt that gold sometime they would find. But mountains grow cold when you seek gold. That precious metal Bob never mind. But onward they strove, warmed by the stove, with family in the cabin they built. Disappointments had come, but they knew they still won, 'cause her love it never did wilt. On a log by the stream, while living their dream, the mountains so far and so near, Bob held Marge tight in the fading twilight, and promised love to his lady dear. To Alaska they trekked, and Bob did connect with friends from long ago. With family beside and eyes open wide, they bask in Denali's pink glow. Work was soon done, and the two had now come to the city by Black Canyon's rim. Marge grew up nearby, and they both did still try to enjoy life before aged eyes grew dim. 64 years long was their marriage song. Then Marge was called home one night. To heaven she arose, peaceful in sweet repose, and Bob was left alone in the fight. A kidney he once gave, for their legacy to save. All descendants were given their share. Of the gold he had sought, it was finally bought by his life work of blood, sweat, and care. Though body was failing and mind sometimes ailing, Bob always thought of his wife. He spoke it one day, and it's true he did say, "I promised I'd love her for life." His body now rent, Bob was heaven sent. One morning in summer's bright light, once tired and old, he now trod streets of gold and searched for his true heart's delight. After Bob next embraced God's holy face and spoke to the Creator of all, he said, "Thanks for my life and the time with my wife. Now eternal praise will be both our call." It had been a tough fight, but it made it all right because he was again with his wife. He grasped her hand anew and said, "My word was true, 'cause I promised I'd love you for life."